Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am here to talk about Cody Stamann versus Luan Lacerda. Cody Stamann, you all know, he's 20-5, 33 years old, and he's fighting a UFC debutant in Luan Lacerda, who is 30 years old or 32, I can't fucking tell. But he's around there, and he's got 4 inches of height and 8.5 inches of reach on Cody Stamann. He's got a 12-1 record, half the experience, but he's still been fighting MMA for 10 years or so, you know, as a pro, I'm saying. And that 12-1 record, he's got 10 submissions, 2 decisions. He is a submission fighter first and foremost, and his one loss came via submission to a guy that turned into a good fighter, you know, with a solid record. So Luan Lacerda's got promise on paper. When you watch him fight, even though he hasn't produced any knockouts, he's got offense on his feet at the very least. He'll sling those left high kicks, you know, the switch kicks and whatever. He's a conventional fighter. But he is, it's all a means to an end. He's a submission guy. He wants to get you to the ground one way or another, and he's got good takedown prowess. I don't expect it to be here in this fight. I think Cody's going to have the wrestling advantage, and that's what makes this a more interesting fight. How is Cody going to use his wrestling here? And what's going to happen on the feet? I think Luan Lacerda is free to throw those kicks and free to take risks on the feet because, you know, against anybody, he's going to want it to hit the mat. Cody Stamann, he's a wrestle boxer. He probably wants to keep most fights standing up unless he doesn't have the advantage there. But it remains to be seen. You know, I do trust Cody Stamann's boxing. I do trust his striking overall, especially over the course of 15 minutes. But this is a guy that has almost a foot of reach on him. It's fucking interesting. Cody has a record of 20-5, 7 TKO wins, which surprised me, 2 submissions, and 11 decisions. The thing is, he's blossomed, so to speak, into a decision fighter in the UFC. You know, at the UFC level, he's a decision fighter. He did knock out Eddie Wineland in his last fight, but pretty much Cody Stamann is the prototype for the wrestle boxer point fighter, and he's fucking awesome at it. I'm not trying to knock him, you know. He's using his skill set and his attributes wisely. His 5 losses come 2 via submission and 3 via decision. He's only lost to really good guys. And the only ones that took him out were Said Nurmagomedov with a guillotine choke and Aljamain Sterling with a Siluev stretch. And, you know, there's no shame in that. There's no shame in his other losses, losing to Merab Dvalishvili and even Jimmy Rivera. You know, Jimmy Rivera's not in the UFC anymore, but fucking excellent fighter in his time. So, Cody, he's a damn good fighter, kind of underappreciated. And, look, this is one of those fights where I'm betting on Luan Lacerda, but I'm picking Cody Stamann. I'm picking Cody Stamann to win. I don't think he's the biggest finisher, so I'm predicting he wins a decision, starts outpointing Luan, you know, using his wrestling the right way, defensively, and stifling Luan on the feet. Because Luan, even though he's got the height and the reach, he's not the striker that Cody Stamann is. And despite the height and the reach, I expect Cody to take over down the stretch, certainly. You know, it'll be one of those fights where he's got to tame the newcomer and take him out of his element. And no doubt about it, that's him being on the ground, Luan Lacerda. And once Cody Stamann takes that off the table, I see him outpointing Luan to a decision victory, comfortably. But I'm still betting on Luan Lacerda, betting on him to win via finish at plus 450. Because I do think if he wins, it's via finish. I, imagine him having a hard time controlling Cody Stamann. Of course, if he was able to take him down, or even find his back in one way or another, I'm sure he could secure a position and hold a round. But just based on the way he fights, I think if he wins this one, it's via submission. And if he loses, I would guess decision based on Cody Stamann and his strengths. But you have to see a guy lose a few times before you're sure of how he's going to lose. So it remains to be seen. That's why I'm not betting on Cody Stamann via decision. Also because the odds are shitty, minus 150. And Luan Lacerda, I really like him as a fighter. I think this is a tough debut here because Cody Stamann is, one of the best neutralizers in the UFC overall. And he's the type of guy that can take a newcomer out of his element. But Luan Lacerda has proven to be very dangerous. I really think he's slick and crafty. He's versatile with the submission game. And when I say things like crafty, I've seen him grapple. He's the kind of guy that'll pinch your arm with his knees without even having control of your torso and start wrenching your arm like some Sakuraba shit. He's definitely a crafty grappler, and I do think he is, you know, that he lends itself to opportunities. You know, that's what makes an opportunistic finisher. If he finds a moment, he can pounce on it. So I trust his skill set, but not enough to make a prediction, just enough to make a bet. All right, like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.